Algebra 2 EOC practice test number 25. Select each function that has an inverse that is also a function for all values of x. Alright, select each function that has an inverse that is also a function. Alright, so the inverse, remember, is going to be a reflection over the y equals x line. So if you look at A is going to be a quadratic equation of some sort, okay? And if it's a quadratic equation, that means its inverse is going to look like this. All right, remember, a function has to pass the vertical line test. So because this is an even function, it's a U-shaped graph, when you turn that, okay, the y equals x. My pen stopped working. Hold on just a second. All right, the y equals x line goes right through there. So if you do a reflection of that, you're going to get a sideways U. So this one is not going to have an inverse that is a function. So this is a function, but its inverse is not a function. So that's not a correct answer. All right, so this one is a line. All right, if it's a line, again, the inverse is going to be like a reflection somehow of that. It's going to reflect across this line right here. So that line may be, I don't know exactly where that line's going to be, but it's still a line. It's still going to pass the vertical line test. So that's a linear equation. Your linear equations should be okay. So that one's going to work. This one is a fraction, 1.5 or 3/2 x. It's still a line. So when you reflect it, it's still going to be a line. It's still going to pass the vertical line test. So that one is also going to work. A cubic function. Remember, a cubic function looks something like this. If you reflect it, it's going to look something like this. Even though it's squiggly, that's not going to be straight up and down. So it's going to be a function as well. So that one will also pass. And then this one's going to have a flatter U shape, but it's going to be similar to the quadratic. So that one will not work. So if you can see there, it looks like the even functions, most of them are not going to have an inverse that's a function. And the linear functions or the cubic functions, the odd powers are. So the answer to number 25, and if you're not sure about this, you can find the inverse for each one of these and then graph those and then check to see if it passes the vertical line test. But if you remember your key features and some certain things about functions, the general shape of those functions, and you remember that an inverse is a reflection across the y equals x, then that will help you quickly determine which ones are correct and which ones are not. So for number 25, the correct answers are B, C, and D.